Welcome, everybody, to another episode of CBSI's Vintage Voyage. I know you've missed us as me and Ben took a little bit of a hibernation this fall. Just had some family obligations and things that came up and just needed a couple Sundays off, man. How you doing?
I'm good, brother. How you been?
I am great. We're here this week. We're going to talk about... Yeah, I know. A lot of Gavin. I figured we'll save it. It's coming. We're going to talk about 10 undervalued vintage books that we have. We each chose 5. No particular order. We expanded a little bit out of our traditional golden age. We're going to talk some gold and some silver and some bronze, and just have some fun with it. You know, it's not your traditional top 10 list, but we just want to talk about 10 books that we thought the market maybe isn't as high on as we are, and cover some of that. As always, thanks our friends at CBSI Comic Book Invest. Check them out for all of the best free comic content on the interwebs. New articles daily, including the top 10 on Fridays, which is always fantastic with our friend Ben S. at the helm.
Got the Stein.
Yes, the Stein. Also, check out Comic Barricade with the new XL launched and going. Best thing for your books now that they've got the XL, you can do the Golden Age magazine size box thing, or you can do your slabs, as seen here. So comicbarricade.com, or check them out on Instagram. If you use the code Flipside, you get 10% off your order. So check them out. Use them wisely. Save your books. All right, man. I think that's all the announcements beforehand. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Not that I can think of.
So, again, kind of our thought was we just wanted to spread our wings a little bit and get off. We've been kind of focused on one topic this time. We thought we'd go a little broader, throw a broader net and see what shenanigans we could come up with. I don't think this was planned, or at least it wasn't planned on my side, as we happen to choose the same number of books from each age. So we're going to start on the Bronze Age and work our way up. These are not spec books. These are not dollar bin books. These are some of them pretty hefty books, though, that we think have some upside. So not to say that some of these you can't buy in at a reasonable price and hope to get some gains, but these are more investment books, not quick flips. With that being said, we're going to start with Ben's pick. Bronze Age. This little ditty here, House of Mystery.
Silver.
Yeah, whatever. Is it silver?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I think it's bronze, but whatever. House of Mystery 174. He didn't pick any Bronze Age then.
No, but I agreed with you when you told me I did. I'm like, yeah, I totally did.
He totally picked one. I guess I always think of the DC horror books as Bronze Age, so it's probably that's probably more my just feeling of that kind of genre.
And I think that's a lot of people's feeling. I mean, I will give credit to Mike Morello. That dude's been a DC horror fan since I don't know. I don't even understand how long, but. House of Mystery 174, first horror issue, if you don't count the Golden Age first issue, which you should not.
No, it's a genre.
Yeah, June 68, Carmine Infantino cover.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous cover. I'm going to throw it back up there for a minute.
It is disgustingly undervalued on eBay right now, and I debated even putting it on the list opposed to just buying a dozen.
Don't worry, watch them go off. If you put them on your safe searches, I'm sure 2 or 3 will fall right now.
Like, what the fuck? It's so cheap. I'm like, raw copies are just everything's under $100, and I don't understand. And I am sure that if a 9.2 or a 9.4, once you get into that 9.0 silver, whatever, fuck it. But even the 7-8 range, this shouldn't be $100 book.
No, and it's a turn. It's back to horror for the comic industry a little bit. And I know some guys that have been chasing this high grade horror for, I mean, as long as we've been doing CBSI. There was a couple guys even back then that were hunting it and grading it and slabbing it, and usually flipping it, which I bet they wish they hadn't. But there's been a market. I mean, it's not. I don't know if it's the same market as the pre-code horror. I'm sure there's some intersection, but I think it's a different. I think it's a different vein. It's almost people with their own nostalgia for their own stuff they grew up with. Not, not
I think you're spot on.
It's not quite the same thing as a pre-code horror where we're all kind of fascinated by, holy crap, that was a kid's thing to a degree, So it's just a different thing. I think this is those kids of the 70s really wanting to relive their childhood and get some of those books back that they had,
And how much is runoff from people that go, I'm going to collect Golden Age. Good Christ, it costs how much? I'm out.
Yeah, and again, you could probably find an average grade copy of that book for nothing.
Yeah, no, it's depressingly
under
cheap.
$20, I bet, in the right place, right time.
Auction.
Oh,
especially right now in this post-election pre-World War III, where I don't know.
Well,
wherever we're in right now.
We're heading towards Christmas time too, man. This is a lull. It's always a lull, and I talk about it every year and say I'm going to save some money for this lull. And usually about October 30th, I blow my wad, and I'm sitting here watching all these auctions, going, God damn it!
I usually wake up in January. And I'm like, oh fuck, I missed it.
I mean, that's where I sniped my Chamber Chills 19 one year. So those are the things you got to watch for. Is those days that somebody should be been in there not. So, but yeah, definitely a book that has some upside. It is a beautiful cover. It's not particularly like dark and devious, but it does have that feeling of the DC horror where it's a little bit more thinking man's horror.
I dig it, and it's creepy as fuck because the kids. I like the shadowing too and the coloring. Like, I like everything about Infantino in the late '60s. So.
Yeah, I won't say he's underappreciated because people do appreciate him. He's just not. Yeah. He's just not mentioned with the big boys sometimes.
Not enough. His name's creeping up. I mean, you hear nothing but Adams, and then Wrightson passed away, so then Wrightson got pushed up. And he should have been. Anyone who's seen fucking Frankenstein should just put him in his own level with his own level. Anyway, what was your first pick?
All right. I went with something a little more mainstream, but I still think it's horribly undervalued. Luke Cage, Hero for Hire 1. It had a little bit of a spike a few years ago with the Netflix show. But, the movie kind of has not really... he didn't get tied in the movie universe. There's no talk of him going into MCU. I'm sure at some point he'll wander in there. They're talking about Daredevil, they're talking about Punisher. And he's a big character that's been part of Marvel kind of lore for, going on 50 years now.
70, yeah, right?
At tough black cover, I just...
on both levels.
So many... Yeah, so many things that you could say have going for it. One of the earlier black superheroes. It definitely that show had such a great vibe. Even so, I mean, that one was done so well on Netflix. I just don't know why it's slowed down. Maybe it's just people have forgotten. But when you compare this to some of the other Bronze Age keys, ignoring
181.
No, let's not even talk to 181. But look at Ghost Rider and some of those Werewolf by Night. Those things are freaking. I don't want to say 10 times, but they're 5 to more times going on.
And they're later. They're years later.
So I'm not going to say it's going to go 10 times higher, but I can easily see it doubling. In a fairly short time, especially the higher grade stuff. I just looked at GPA for a 9.4. This year, you could have got one as low as 1,800, which was a fucking steal. And as high as 3,400. I'm betting that was February. But, it was actually as high as a $4,500 book in 2016. So it's down. Even the high sale this year is down 25% from its all-time high. And with quite a few lower than that. just like I said, a book with a lot of potential. I think it's, as we put on the card, underappreciated.
I think it's got a huge upside. It's early. It's impossible. I bet the numbers on 8 and higher are nothing compared to the 7s and 6s that are on there, because people think they got the 8.59 and you're like, no, that's a 6.5, man. You gotta learn a fucking grade.
Oh man, this book is tough. I mean, it's same as the Ghost Rider, and that black cover is tough. Spine ticks everywhere. I have not bought one. I keep watching for the right deal. I apparently should have bought it in February or May, March, any of that time. And I didn't, but all of us were kind of being a little cautious then. I did buy a nice high grade Italian version. So
see, and that's your wheelhouse, man. That's where you're
9.0 Italian edition.
Whoa, that's fancy.
I have a whole international set, so I'm gonna have to pony up and buy one of these soon. If I'm gonna walk the walk, I should talk the talk and do it.
It feels like a good time too, especially like you said, going into this Christmas holiday rush.
Lit by, unless you other animals are going for it. And I think several of the guys mentioned they're watching the Heritage auction right now, so maybe there's one that one of you guys can snag. Next one, gonna go back to the Silver Age. This is Ben's pick, back to the Silver Age because we never left there for Ben. Strange Tales 89, Fing Fang Foom.
I mean, so when I first picked this, it was off the top of my head, and then when I checked pricing, I still stand by it. The book's grossly undervalued. It is no longer as grossly undervalued as I thought it was.
No, it's an impossible freaking book.
It is. So I bought a pair of them. I kept blowing it off back in like 2015, 2016. And then one auction, and then the following auction, both Comic Link, I bought, I think I paid $100 a point for VGs. I paid a little over $400 for one, and then like $380 for the next one. So I have a pair of VGs. And I got in for like $1,000.
But that book
keep in mind, August 61.
Yeah,
that's fucking FF is November.
Yeah, I mean that's damn barely Silver Age. Barely.
Well, it's barely Marvel. It's definitely, what I mean. Like it's barely.
It's just the tip of the Silver Age.
Just the tip.
Yeah,
look at just look at Groot. That's my reasoning behind it.
Yeah,
and like I get how cool Groot is, but if folks can't see the possibility of I thought we were getting Fin Fang Foom before the nightmare that was Iron Man 3. When they said Mandarin, it was like, oh fuck, get your Iron Man. I'm gonna fuck the number up. There's it's
Strange Tales.
Later. No, it's an Iron Man that
that he's in.
Mandarin and Fin Fang Foom of a storyline.
Yeah.
Like get that shit ready, and then Ben Kingsley, as good of an actor as he is, I mean, you can't do anything when they hand you a steaming pile of fucking
mess.
Garbage, right?
Hot garbage.
So that book, $1,000 for a VG. Somebody clearly cleared out an attic or something and listed a bunch of comic issues for $120 each, and they're all destroyed. But there was an 89 in there, and somebody paid $120 for a. I mean, it's a complete 0.5, but that's still grossly cheap. Low grades seem to be a few hundred, $500-$600.
I can't recall seeing any high grade copies. I don't watch Heritage. That's probably where they drop, but you just don't see them. When I watch Comic Link and I do the market report for Monday night, and I never see them. I just don't see them pop up. So crazy book. My pick was in the same series. Another, not under the radar character, but Strange Tales 110, Doctor Strange. Did a little research on it. I mean, this book always feels a little criminally undervalued to me. I went and pulled up the GPA for, I think I got a 6 right here. 2012, it was under $1,000 for a 6 all day long.
Which is...
Yeah, crazy talk. 2016 is when the movie came out. That topped up at $3,300. It has kind of sunk down a bit, and now it's drifted back to there. Right now, the highest sale this year of a 6 is $3,500. So in that 7 years, pretty much stagnant, if not down a bit on the average sales. That's probably picking up a little bit more because of the Doctor Strange 2 talk and everything happening, the multiverse stuff. But I mean, Phase 1 Marvel characters are going away. Strange is going to have to be one of the tenants for a while. And that book is a tough book. It's ugly ass cover. That doesn't help it. I think the some of the other issues take the heat. The 169 where it becomes his title, and Doctor Strange 1 gets a little more love. But I mean, this cover sucks. I don't know what to tell you. I can't help it, but
you got to go to 118. Is 118 his first cover?
I don't remember.
I think it is. I'm gonna. In a previous life, I
knew that.
Jesus, did I eat, sleep, breathe, fucking rinse, repeat Silver Age and Silver Age only, especially Marvel. I think that's from '63 for what it's worth. So that's still early Marvel when you put, we got to change our name.
It's actually fantastic. That might be that's a t-shirt there. I love it. Thank you.
Shockingly accurate. And what's up to everyone in the chat? It's been a while, but we always appreciate it. We always have a good chat. So
yeah, a couple guys
we appreciate folks showing up.
James Kreider, Patrick Malangro, Comics Funds, Die Exploit 73, JJ Maxwell. I know I saw Ozzy in here somewhere. Highlander Comics. Welcome, guys. Good to have you. Feel free to keep on chiming in as we ramble on about God knows what all we're rambling on. But again, Strange Tales 110, it's I don't know. It just, again, underappreciated. These are not sleeper books, not hidden books. But this one, I don't know. I don't get it. I think it should have a little more than it does. Again, comparing it to some of the others. You mentioned Groot, and one that I almost picked, we'll call it an honorable mention. I didn't even put a graphic up. Was the first Star-Lord. That one. You can get a 9.6 for like $900.
The magazine?
Yeah. I think that's why it's the magazine,
I mean, it's arguable, right? Like, it's just not strong. Like, that magazine, if that magazine was a comic for whatever reason from the same fucking year,
it would have been triple.
It'd be, I agreed.
Yeah,
like, it's like the Moon Knight, it's like the Blade stuff. I bought a bunch of magazine stuff, Tomb of Dracula, getting ready for Marvel Phase, whatever the fuck we're going into. We're getting horror. For what it's worth, we're getting horror. People should be buying, and it's too late to put it on this show. Tomb of Dracula 3, 25. There's like 3 other fucking Ghost Rider books. All that Marvel horror bronze shit, it's left the station, but we're going to look back and go, oh, whoops. Yeah. Living Mummy's like $12. Buy that goddamn book. Sorry, John.
Yeah.
Fucking, but it's that cheap. Like, for the love of Christ, just go buy it. Like, if Celestials 2, Elementals 2 is fucking $100 book because of Angelina Jolie, go buy a real book. Like fucking Legion of Monsters 28. And try not to smoke pot on camera.
That's a good plan. All right.
Just telling you, man.
So, covered a couple of big time Marvel Strange Tales books. We're going to go back to Ben, which he went for a real interesting pick to me. I understand it, but it's not going to be one of those that you go, oh, he went with ASM number 2.
Fucking criminally undervalued. This book, this would be number 1 on the top 10 of top 10 books that are undervalued of third appearances.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, AF-15 has just left the stratosphere.
Oh, that book doesn't count.
ASM-1 has quickly caught up. I remember looking at a friend of ours in Baltimore tried to convince me to parlay my 6.0 first Brainiac into a cash trade offer on an ASM-1 mid-grade, and I was like, I don't want that book right now. Fucking dumbass.
So you believed in Brainiac over Spider-Man?
I sold the Brainiac, and I just didn't buy anything else.
Well, you have a lake house. Like,
well, that was to buy an anniversary present for my wife, so we parlayed it into marriage.
Which kept you together long enough to get to the lake house.
So I'm not saying I'm just saying I should have probably done it. It would have been a much better financial decision at the time. But that all being said, this book definitely has room to grow.
This book, and it has nothing to do with the Vulture. Fuck the Vulture. I appreciate Michael Keaton bringing what he did to it. Yeah. He did, right on. He did it right. Like Birdman, confusion and nonsense. ASM, right on. You were the fucking Vulture. That said, the trickle-down effect is coming to that book.
Yeah, I mean, it just will.
That 3, if it didn't have the Vulture, it'd skip right to 3 for Doc Ock.
Yeah.
But it's not. Every fucking the first 6 Spidey books are runaway monsters, and then you get some taint in the middle before it picks back up and takes off at 13, right? But none of that shit's undervalued. That's just safe investments. Like, you want safe money? Buy Spider-Man books. You want safe, not volatile money? Buy Spider-Man keys, man. Villains, super, it don't fucking matter. Buy that shit and buy it in 6.0 or better.
Spider-Man and Batman. Can't go wrong.
And Batman, for the love of Christ, right? Like, but that shit's not undervalued. That's just, I want my money to be safe. I want my money to be safe. I'm going to buy well-known pre-code horror, Silver Age keys. Ugh. Yeah. I debated bringing the box over of nonsense to be like, hey, this is what I invest in. Because Silver Age is my shit.
You should do that sometime.
Silver Age. Silver and bronze was my shit forever. Well, silver was my shit forever. I have no respect for bronze. And it cost me tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. Welcome back to the rant show.
The Copper Age did the same with fucking Turtles. Shit.
Oh, dude, Turtles. Like,
could have spent all my crow money on some Turtles and been a rich man.
And who would have known? It would have been a better fucking purchase than 181.
Oh yeah. Oh, yes. You don't say that often.
Not
often at all.
It's like, holy shit. You want to talk about books, and then no foresight to be like, fuck, I need to get an Albedo 2 before it happens. It's gonna fucking happen. We all know it's gonna happen. Oh, it happened.
Well, we couldn't find Albedo 2. That was a monster.
We could have. I passed. I got outbid and didn't bid again on so many in Comic Link. And instead I was like, don't worry, I'll spend that $2,000 on 100 fucking slabs instead. Like, oof.
Yeah.
But again, I have a horseshoe up my ass, so those slabs turned into 75% of fucking OSPG trading at my shop.
Yeah, take it.
Oh, anyway, that's how you derail a fucking conversation.
We only got 10 books to cover, so we got time. We're rolling pretty good. We're through. Is that 5 picks in 25 minutes? Shit, we're way ahead of schedule.
We might actually gain people because people will be like, "Oh, it's not 4 hours. I'll check it out."
Right. So welcome a couple people. I see Brad. He's a new one. Yeah, definitely the cover is killer. Supamars. Turtles. It's a nostalgia factor. We all.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
I've been doing it as well. It's crazy, and I keep thinking, no, this is an anomaly. No, it's not. I missed it.
It's what AF-15 did. Every time, and I was like, no. Yeah. Strange Tales 110. John and I were talking about this earlier. I had a few because you pick up low grade keys. Doctor Strange was always a tier 2 book. It never mattered.
Yeah, it was easy back then.
In 2013, early 2013, someone flew up from Florida because I had amassed a complete Marvel Silver Age collection plus most of DC, and I thought to myself, oh fuck, I don't want this. Like, I'm not a run guy. And then anyway. I passed on a VG AF-15 because it was 1,000 over market in trade, and I didn't feel like giving them the extra in trade. But I do have a 6.5 Strange Tales 110 that's worth, I don't know, man, not very much right now, but it's a safe investment.
Yeah. So again, listen to us on the safe investments, and whatever book we're not buying is probably the one that's going to go nuts.
Just saying, man.
All right. So my other Silver Age pick. This is going to be a real shock to you guys. I have not ever talked about this book before. Doom Patrol 99. First Beast Boy. Honestly, all the Teen Titans stuff is a bit low right now. I get it. It's a teen book. It's got Robin. We know Ben loves Robin. So there's that.
Yes, I do.
But they were not a prominent part of the 60s or 70s kind of, at least multimedia. They were definitely strong comic ties, but they weren't all over cartoons and movies and TV shows, and they are all over right now. I mean, Teen Titans has had a couple series on Cartoon Network. Teen Titans Go is like Kid Crack. You talk about the DC. What's the girl show? DC
Superhero Girls.
Superhero Girls. That's the stuff that our kids are being inundated with. I mean, my kids love Beast Boy more than most other superheroes.
Mine do too, and I have 2 daughters.
So,
their favorite.
This book had a little spike for a while, but you can buy VGs all day for $50 to $75. At auction.
Crazy low.
Yeah, I mean, I was buying in when it first kind of Teen Titans was going, and spec was kind of growing. You could get it for 20 or 40, but now, I mean, it's not went up much. Now, you get a high end one. This book is a ghost above 8. I mean, 8 you can find a few. You go above that. I mean, I don't think there's. I'd be shocked if there's more than 10 above a 9.4, including 9.4. And they very, very rarely come to market. So, a tough book. Not a great cover. He is on it.
But it has, exactly.
Tough blue, sometimes purple. Ink run on this one's kind of like the Moon Knight one. You get variances in color. I had one graded that one company graded it an 8 and the other company graded it a 9.4 because it wasn't faded, as they said. It was just different ink color in the blue run, kind of like the DC Sandman one that has that color variation between the blue and the purple. But it's a freaking tough book. I mean, this whole series is tough. My Greatest Adventure 80 has finally got its due after the Doom Patrol show has kind of become a cult classic that got a little love and finally got a boost. It's really not carried over to this character. I mean, he's not on that show, but he's everywhere freaking else. I think they do a great job with him on the DC Titans show. He's one of the better characters there. And it's got a solid enough cover for what it is.
This is one of those books that you're going to look back 5 years from now and say, holy shit, how was it ever that cheap?
I tell you what, I said that 5 years ago, and I'm like, it hasn't went nuclear, and I don't quite.
It did. It went into nuclear, but there was a point. I mean, if you look at the GPA on this, it's
there was a
way
spike.
the fuck off, and then it comes back because I remember getting, I don't know, $400 or $500 fucking VFs.
I think what it was, and I've talked about it with like some of the Charlton books, that you couldn't find supply because it wasn't anybody's bins. it was in the boxes they didn't bring to shows, or the boxes behind, in the back room. It wasn't a title that sold, so nobody could access it. It wasn't that they weren't there, and I think
Aquaman 29, Aquaman 35.
Yes.
That book, the Wonder Woman book, not 99, the fucking bronze there. Anyway, lots of that Silver Age DC. The Brainiac 10-cent era is actually rare, where the later stuff that we all thought was rare was only rare on the market because 4 people listed it and then no one else cared. But I probably got a dozen copies in the wild because I'm in the Boston area, and you hit 3 shops that have vintage back issues, and that,
and
all day.
People start finding it, and very good copies are plentiful. Very good and blower, very, very reasonable. Not to say I wouldn't buy some at $50-$60 like they've been selling at. I mean, some of them are breaking 100, but you can easily get it under. I saw a guy at Baltimore 2 years ago, last year, I don't know, whenever the last time I went, he had a stack of 10 or 12 of them. He obviously had read our site and kind of followed it because he had a bunch of those kind of key books, but not a one was a 6.0 or above. They were all, good, very good, maybe some 5s. Just a tough book. I look at it all the time just in case I see one sneak by, but if you can get yourself some 8s or above, hold on to them. I plan on it. So, yeah.
I have a single 8.0.
How many people chimed out as we talked Beast Boy for 10 minutes?
It's not like we went on a Robin rant.
Oh, someday that's going to happen. That's a book too. Here,
what up, Marco?
Cool comic guy threw one up. Strange Tales 180, First Gamora. Same fate as Doctor Strange, man. Ugly ass cover. Hideous cover. Ozzy was talking to me about it the other day because he had some money. He's like, do I want like a high-end Gamora? I'm like, I don't think it's gonna get any hotter. It's just that cover kills it. She's a popular character, but she's dead in the MCU, so to speak.
No, Guardians 3 is coming, and then you get Hemsworth signed on to do that. I bet it's.
I'm not saying she won't come back. I just don't see it skyrocketing. It's kind of the same thing as we talked about with Star-Lord. The cover is not what people want. It's a that's a magazine. It's a mediocre cover. This is a hideous cover.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be held down a little bit by that because we put all this shit in slabs and we want to look at it. And when you have that on your wall and somebody goes, what is that? First Gamora?
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, I don't buy moderns, but I understand picking a couple of those modern variants of Gamora up instead because she looks like a badass there. And if you want to talk about Gamora, you'd rather have her looking like a badass.
I mean, some of that's the argument with Strange Tales, right? I know somebody said it in the chat. The cover is shit.
Yes.
The book's still going to come back.
Somebody's talking DC Presents. We didn't go into the Copper Age. That was a little too new for our blood, so we definitely could talk some Copper Age books. We just didn't put them on our list. The Eternals, I bring them back. Somebody, El Jefe's got Silver Surfer 3 all day long. That book used to be undervalued. I mean,
yeah,
I got out
that
too
used
early.
to be a $20 raw book that you just fucking bought stacks of.
I got tired of waiting for some reason. Sometimes I can only hold books 5 years, and then I go like, this is stupid. I'm going to sell them. Fuck it. Well,
it's an interesting thing to look back at the phases of how long you can or should hold, and it's different for everything. But like, yeah, man, I had fucking Silver Surfer 3s coming up my ass, and it was, I mean, we bought them in what, 2012, 2013? Yeah. And then by 2016, 2017, you're like, Jesus Christ, I have too many.
Yeah, I sold
them. And then you're
like,
oh, fuck, I have none.
I had a beautiful 8.0.
How many do you have right now?
Not a fucking one.
I have 0. Because once something either is dead to me, or the amount of shit that I've given up on that's come back, and the amount of shit that I've held on to for dear life, that I'm like, man, just let it go. Do everyone else who has it a favor, let it go so it gets hot.
Wait till Monday. Watch the Monday pickups, and all of you guys are gonna roll your eyes at me and be like, "This guy's a moron. Why do we talk to him?"
That's nice. I'll look forward to that.
This
Demon one.
Demon.
We don't even want to talk about Demon
one. You had a shack of Demon ones.
Fucking from 2013 on, I was like, they're making JLD and buying demons. I had 132 at one point. It was like,
you still have them?
I don't think I still have like 50.
Okay.
Like, interesting though. Anything over an 8, near impossible to find. Just straight up. And I bought 132 of the fucking things.
Yeah.
And I bought most of them for $10-$20, and they were all BG to VF. Anything above a VF, I have one single 9, and I think I paid like $300 for it.
Oh yeah, that book is tough. I don't know what. I don't get it. I don't know why it's so damn tough, but it is. There was one point where there were no 9/8 in the census for the longest time. Like I want to say until like 2015.
You breathe on it, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
way worse than a black cover.
It was like an urban legend that you couldn't get one for a while, forever. Yeah, I know. I got some modern books, JJ. I do. We just didn't want to bring that into too much confusion for you guys. And
you guys want to do modern stuff.
Check out the playbook on Friday. Nights. Yeah, Saturday nights.
All right, cool. I'm like, fuck, Friday. That's the Hot 10.
Hot 10's Friday night.
Conflict of interest on the same channel.
Yeah. Modern playbook is on Saturday nights. A couple new guys
on Saturday nights. Nico, a bunch of other dudes. You want to talk about down the fucking rabbit hole speculation on modern?
The guys from Absolute Geek Podcast, Absolute Geek channel joined last week. They're going to help keep that show on track. So check that out. But we cover everything on this channel. We got Mondays for shenanigans and tomfoolery. We got Fridays for the Hot 10. We got moderns on Saturday, and you got vintage on Sunday. So, I mean, we cover the whole gamut for you. We even expanded vintage for you guys.
We redefined our term of vintage. Like, I guess 1970 should be vintage, right?
Yeah, we'll let something that's 50-year-olds work. Yeah.
Exactly. So, all right, where are we on the fucking map?
Oh, over to gold. Look, see, I just felt we had to expand it a little bit. We're gonna be done in no time.
That's not a bad thing. I got this. I'm still posting, man. I'm fucking behind.
Don't get me started on fucking Pokemon.
Trading cards for a living, folks. Trading cards and CBD.
Freaking Pokemon.
That's how you plug a CBD company on a fucking Golden Age show.
I'm trying to decide what order I want to go in these. I'm going to pick your War on Crime 11.
Johnny Craig! What up, Johnny Craig?
So for those that don't know why.
I'll just keep saying Johnny Craig for a little while, and people will just be like, fuck it, must be important. So War Against Crime 10, EC Comics, if you know him, you know him. Here we go. War Against Crime 10 is the first Voltahar and the first Crypt Keeper, but the cover is garbage. It's just trash. It's fucking terrible. I'm sorry. It's some douchebag on the phone, and it's not like Crime Patrol 15, where the dude on the phone at least is like, hold on, I'm watching myself get murdered on television. Like, it's literally some jackass being like, I don't know, I'm talking. You know, that's terrible. So, War Against Crime 11 becomes Vault of Horror, obviously a big Vault of Horror. First EC horror cover. Super important. Grossly undervalued. I had a note of the fucking price. I don't remember. They was averaging under $1,000 in VG. When you get into the new trend books, and I know this starts in, when you get into the actual Vault of Horror 13 up, 12's rare, Haunt of Fear 16 up, Fine, all that shit's common. There's fucking Gaines file copies in every book. There's a billion of everything. When you play around with the Moon Girl 5, the War
That book
10,
broke my
the
heart
War
2 weeks
11,
ago.
that book broke my mind when Jason Shaw dropped his fucking pickup in the thing from an LCS.
Oh, he got one?
It's like a VF fucking raw copy
Oh.
that, like, it's disgusting. I was like, well, I got a PGX 3.0. It's really a 2.
There was one at auction about 2 weeks ago, and I went at it. I was hoping maybe I'd get the holiday early.
You did not.
Whoa. I did not.
You did not. I saw that auction.
It blew me out of the water, and I said,
every Moon Girl issue and every Crime Patrol that hits eBay, I see, and every single time I'm like, that's too bad for me.
yeah. I didn't even message you I was going to bid on it because I didn't want to jinx myself.
No, yeah, you don't. Well, you also don't want me being like, that's kind of cheap.
So, yeah, don't want to put it out there in the world.
I do that all the time. I'm like, I want to tell somebody after I win or lose. So, War Against Crime 11, first EC horror cover. War Against Crime 10, it's not only that, it's not only a garbage cover, but that's how you rush for a fucking touchdown. It's also the trickle-down effect, like that 10 is too expensive and never can be found. You're going to look at the 11, and it's going to be the ASM 1. AF-15 is gross, way out of price. Nobody can handle that book. ASM 1, killer cover still.
Yeah. Nothing
wrong with that. War Against Crime 11. That's of all the books on the list, that's
yours.
That's the money. That's the fucking choice.
I don't want to distract us too much, but I do want to give a quick answer to Super Mars. Is all Golden Age horror a good investment? I wouldn't say all, and some of it's too high in our opinion. I mean, there's lots of episodes of this. We talk horror books. I mean, probably every other almost, or probably every third at minimum. And a couple good ones we did now 2 months back, but we did a couple on horror and what we thought good investments versus bad investments. So, continue watching some of the content if you want to catch a little more detailed on that. I think the classic covers and important books are probably good investments. The more you trend off of the ECs and some of that, it gets tougher. That's a half a second answer.
You stick with your top 25, 50. We have an article on the site of the top 50 vintage horror books.
You're going to do okay on those. There's others that you'll be fine on, but yeah, don't just buy every horror book you see at every price. If you get it cheap enough, buy it.
And if you like it, if you see something in it, chances are somebody else will. Always check the market. You're rarely gonna fucking
solo Wookie. Buying romance and horror. I don't know how to feel. Well, it's probably how most of the houses are doing after 6 months of lockdown. Whether to kill your wife Johnny Craig style or just get married again.
Dude, horror has it all for you, man. So I will also say that. I don't know. When were we talking about it? 2-3 years ago, John and I started talking about romance and what books to target and what's going to happen.
Yeah, it just was too complicated for me. I couldn't get the algorithm in my head.
The answer was Baker and anything you can't find. So everything I found in shops was fucking
not worth it.
Oh, there's 43 copies, or there's one copy, but it doesn't matter because people don't want the non-Baker realistic covers. They want Baker, or they want JoJo, Cindy, Betty.
Yes.
Choose
very weird.
All right, what's your next pick, boss?
I went. Let's see which one. I'll go with this one and save the other one. Another one that I harp on a lot. Another one. The cover probably doesn't help. It's not as horrendous cover as some. You got a nice.
It's just
Marvel
the dude
fan.
On the end.
Yeah. But you got Black Adam, first Black Adam. This is a book that I was chasing this before they announced the movies, before all that, because I just am a Captain Marvel fan. Couldn't find them forever. Kind of I think they weren't coming up because there was no demand. It was a couple $100 book in, low to mid grade. Dwayne The Rock Johnson gets tied to it probably a decade ago, and it starts to creep up. It's lived between 500 and 1,000 a point for freaking ever. I've bought into a few. I actually had 2, and I got so annoyed with it at one point I traded one off. I mean, I did fine on it, but I should have kept it, but I just couldn't do it anymore, you know? I was the asshole with 2 copies of this, and it wasn't fucking appreciating at all, and I said I'm going to cut those losses and just keep the one. I have honestly toyed with buying back in on this because there's a fucking Rock movie coming out with this character. That on its own should be enough to do something, but DC didn't figure out how to use this character until maybe 20 years ago or less, 10 years ago. You know, that JSA run, when was that? The early 2000s?
No, it's 2010, right? The 2010? Ross cover?
Yeah,
oh, no, God, it can't be that recent. Sorry.
No, it was like early 2000s somewhere.
I bet it's 05, 06. I'm terrible with moderns, but...
So they didn't really figure out who this character was or how to use him until around then. And he's not quite an anti-hero. He's a villain with some sort of conscience, let's call it that. He's not quite the Punisher, and he's not quite some of those characters. But he's borderline good sometimes. You know, they did a hella job with him in that series. He had his own run. The Injustice version of the character is fun. So I just think he's a character they just figured out how to put him in the world. There's so few appearances of him prior to that time frame. You know, people go nuts for that Shazam 28. And I think, good God, there's a decent number of those books out there. I mean, it's not the most common of that run, but they're out there. And people paid, $1,000, $2,000 for a 9.6, 9.8 of that book. And I think you could get the first one in the Golden Age for that. You can get a 2.0 for a couple grand.
Yeah, man, I don't argue with Golden Age investing. Bronze scares me, like Shazam 28.
Yeah,
25, 27, all of them, all 3 of them. Although 27's up big, right? It's just that I liked it way back when.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
It's a shitty, not Kid Eternity, the other fucking yachts there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least ISIS cover's pretty, but other than that.
Yeah, that shit's all, I can't play in that, like.
No, I don't want to spend
it's fucking Demon and Adventure Comics 428, and it's all that shit that I'm like, I have 30 something of this fucking book and it's been the same price. It's
forever.
Literally gone up barely with inflation for a decade.
Yeah.
And I've just ridden it out like, oh man.
It's those, as soon as you cut your losses, you're going to win. But,
and that's why everyone fucking buy into Black Orchid, because I'm gonna get out soon.
Yeah, that one. I haven't talked to you about that one for years and years. I didn't find any, so I didn't spend any money on them. But man, that one.
I literally have 30 something.
Freaking dog. Can't go down anymore.
No. I mean, I can't sell a VG for less than fucking $3 anyway. Like it's already at the bottom.
Give me the people's elbow for not buying it. Love it.
Smell what he's cooking. Very sure.
Holy, there are 65 people watching us right now. I am in shock.
I don't know if that's fucking way too many or we usually get like 4, don't we? It's usually like your brother and our 2 phones.
Yeah, I got the phone following us, so yeah. Maybe we both bought some extra phones. I don't know.
It's because I told you, brother. Honestly, it's because 10 to 1. It's because we finally decided to expand our vintage into silver and bronze because that's what people
we got a little. I mean, we can only talk Golden Age so many times on Golden Age horror. Not that we couldn't talk forever, but we can only talk interestingly the first time so many things. All right,
true, kid.
Your top book is probably the most.
Speaking to people that don't want to listen to shit.
This book is out of all of our price ranges, most likely. But There is potential for it.
It's out there, okay? This is to recognize that everyone has different levels of investing. This book, so for those who are like, what is happening? Why is it expensive? Why is it not expensive? Why is it over undervalued? Who is it on the cover? And why does Ben care? Ben cares because he has a copy. Well. That's first. But money where your mouth is, right? Like, I bought it because I believe this book, second appearance of Lex Luthor, with red hair, that is not him on the cover. Action 23, 17, 23? Fuck, 23. Whatever. First Luthor is in action. That book is about 12 times as expensive as Superman 4, and that's probably a really conservative multiplier. You can get Superman 4 from March of 1940 with that, I can't even, I was going to say gorgeous Schuster cover, but it's not a gorgeous cover. The cover is fucking terrible. But
it's not terrible, but it's not.
Batman Golden Age. Batman Golden Age is safe. But as far as Superman goes, front and center, the book houses the second and third, because Golden Age back then had multiple fucking stories within it. So second and third appearance of Luthor are in that book. You can get a low-grade copy under $1,000. You can get a nicer copy for a few grand. And it sounds funny, but there's definitely people out there going, wait a minute. So I can buy a fucking missing part of the cover FF1 with my super investment egg, or I can buy a Superman 4 or a Batman fucking me, not a 10 or 11. But anyway, that's why I bring it up, because there's only a perfect example. I collected silver forever. I fucking invested in it. I bought tons of low grade. I lucked into some mid grade. I scoffed at all the bronze and lost a fortune in investment theoretically. I got so tired. Zercher knows. 3 or 4 years ago, I just said, I'm done. I am so sick of fucking Silver Age. I don't want to do it anymore. I didn't get rid of a lot of it, but everything's been gold since. I am not the last person that's going to have that happen.
There's only so much Silver Age to buy.
And it's only fun for so long. I get it. AF-15 is fucking amazing. Like, all these fucking, Journey 83 is a badass book. We just got to give that to that book. That book's fucking, man, all right, that book. But, man, I go in my box and I'm like, oh, wow, Daredevil 1. And it's not that it's a bad book. But once you've had it and it's gone up and it's done its thing, somebody else is going to appreciate it, and it's time to get into gold. And I bought a Superman 1. 4.
It's like, you got one? Damn, I missed that one.
Fuck. Superman 1, that should have been my pick.
Yeah.
All right, Zercher, bring us home. What do you got, brother?
Oh, we talked about this all the time, but I picked a Batman book. If you guys watched the Flipside show on Mondays, I talked about this book last week purely because it interested me, comparing it. Batman 23. It's got a Joker cover, pretty prominent Joker cover. One of the earliest. I don't know how many are. It's got to be in the first 5, maybe.
Well, it depends if you count 40. And by 40, I mean Detective 40.
Yeah.
If you count Clayface as Joker, you're at 6 or 7.
Really? Okay.
This is stupid early. It doesn't matter. This was a fantastic. This is the best book on the list. Period. This is a great pick. Keep going.
So I was comparing it to Batman 11, which is the card cover with the Joker, and a 6.0 in that book was $14K. This book, which was a year later, 23, 12 issues later, a 5.0 sold for $1,200. So we're almost a tenfold price difference. Now, am I saying that's not that it's an equal cover? No. Is it a solid Joker prominent cover? Yes. It's an early Joker cover. What's that other the smoke Joker and the guns? What issue's that one?
Detective 69.
Detective 69. That one's a freaking monster.
Yes, it is.
You compare to some of those other detective books, with the exception of Detective 40, which again is not a fantastic cover. It's got
Robin garbage. It's got Robin exactly. It's got Robin dangling. Who gives a
Joker kind of there, and it's not in the same realm. My boy Nico actually pointed out something to me I hadn't thought about, but it's interesting. Chest cover, first Batman chest cover, and there do seem to be a good number of chest covers with Batman because he's a thinking man's hero. He's doing it. So just another random tidbit that I never would have thought about, but that's also kind of cool. But again, you can get a mid-grade copy of this for a little over $1,000. That's crazy to me compared to all the other Joker covers that we kind of hit on.
Seems like a bargain. Seems like an absolute bargain at that price.
Is Robin opponent? Yeah, it is. That's Batman, Robin, and Joker chess pieces. So, I don't know. I just Joker's popular. Joker's probably almost as popular as freaking Batman at this point, maybe more. And the Joker people are freaking rabid. These guys that cosplay as the Joker and just love it. Some point they're going to turn into 35-year-olds and have some money. Probably most of them are still in their 20s or heading into their 30s, haven't quite hit that cash down. They're going to go, I want my favorite villain and I want an early thing. This is going to come out as one that is a tenth of the price of the others, and they're going to move to it. Same theory as some of that other stuff. It's too early a Batman to have a Joker and be so low.
I will say I am a fan of every Joker cover I don't even know, man. I just picked up, I forget what number it is, 43, 45. Somebody on the chat will correct my goofy ass. The multiple Joker head, like the snake thing.
Oh, yeah.
And that's way later than the chess.
Batman 37 is another good one with the plane and the Joker plane and the Joker mobile. The triple Joker cover.
I think all that Joker stuff's nice, man.
I think that one's actually more expensive than this one if I looked. Because I sold a 1.5 of that, which I shouldn't have done, but I needed something else at the time. I'm not always the smartest guy on selling things. I like to look for the new shiny objects, so I've lost some really cool shiny objects along the way. But I think that one was, close to 400 or 500 and extremely low grade. So this one is just too far below the curve for me. I probably screwed it up because 60 people in this chat are now looking for it too. So I don't know. I don't know how to after. One of you deviants is going to upbid me the next time I see one. There's me. Probably you. I don't have an opinion.
Real quick on a sidetrack, I want to go Chuck Hensey, Dennis Hayes, our friend. What's good? Luis Ramirez, Highlander Comics, Comic Padre, Barnhouse Comics, because I can't even begin the beginning of that tray. I apologize. Graphic Man, and the nicest man in comics, Peter Renner.
We'll answer Barnhouse Comics question because we got a few minutes. We're just ticking at an hour right now. We'll give him a few minutes to talk. House of Secrets 2. Any thoughts on that book? I know House of Secrets 1 is one of the fancy ones. I don't even know if I know what 2 looks like off the top of my head.
2? I'm trying to think. It's like 55, 54. Anyway, what's the question? You can tell I'm cannabis crazy.
Just wondering what our thoughts are on it.
I think so. Any early DC like that, I can tell you that is 100% from the era that's it's more obscure. When you get into the Adventure 210, there's other bigger books in that, but the late 40s to early 50s stuff, I don't think you're in for a get rich quick or a spike or anything, but I think you're in really fine shape to sit and collect the small gains on the investment that you're going to get.
Yeah, I mean it's going to probably do the same thing as some other stuff. Just going to climb up slowly and do its thing. Early DC horror probably is not
that. Yeah, like there's no downside to it. I don't think it's terribly expensive, but I don't think.
Yeah, we all play different fields.
I don't think it's going to go down. The people that leave and enter the hobby are always going to want the sci-fi, the horror, all that early stuff. And I learned the hard way. The first 20 issues of House of Mystery, House of Secrets. What are the other ones? Fucking
Mystery in Space.
Thank you. All the weird the DC version of the Marvel Journey.
Yes.
Strange Tales. Unknown. What is it? Unknown Tales or whatever. Number 1 has the artist with the fucking thing coming off the cover, and it's like a gargoyle man or some shit. Anyway, all that stuff, the first dozen or 2 dozen issues, super safe. Goes for Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen. Mm-hmm. That shit's not around. You're not going to make any quick money on it, but I bought a short box of that kind of stuff at $10 an issue from a dealer. They were thrilled. I think they lasted 12 minutes online, maybe. Like how I didn't go with 10 there.
Yeah.
And I put them up at $50-$60 an issue, and
go. People want it.
Right, because that's what people are still building runs and collections of, is that early DC stuff, because you can. So, House of Secrets 2, I dig it.
Yeah,
House of Mystery 2.
Can't go wrong. All right, so thank you all for being here. I think we have rolling in just over an hour is crazy for us, but we picked pretty small content, not trying to get through 50 books tonight. I have no idea what we're doing next week. We'll come up with something. We always do. Again, check out Comic Barricade, especially the XL for you Golden Age collectors. It's for the larger sizes, and also will fit the slab boxes. Use the code Flipside for 10% off your order. And, check out comicbookinvest.com for all the good weekly content, free content, pretty much all the content you could need, especially from our friend Peter Renna, dropping articles weekly. Got anything else, Ben?
Yeah, make sure. I'll do it. Make sure to check out the rest of the content on the Tales from the Flipside channel. There is so much going on. We're not going to plug it all. Go check it out. You'll be happy you did.
Yes, check out the Comic Book Women if you've not. So they're new on Tuesday. All right, we are out. Glad you could all join us tonight. Awesome to have you. Great chat. And we'll see you next week.